operational and was never breached, and no contamination, so water is good to go. And right now we are in a mode to where we're still answering emergency calls, and as it slows down we will transition into other life-saving measures if needed. And currently the hospital is sheltered in place, and as a precautionary measure because of the structure until they get it looked at. Anything further on that, I would direct you to the hospital for those questions. Injuries reported, nothing but minor injuries, and such as cuts and bruises, as the grace of God. So other than that, I will turn it over to the fire chief. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chief McLaughlin. As I did not mention it before, what we'll do is we'll just go one at a time through each representative, and we'll hold our questions till the end. Afterwards, we'll handle some of the questions, and then we'll be available for individual breakouts as well. Let us now go ahead and give our attention to Kern County Fire Department Battalion Chief D. Mitchell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Denise Mitchell, Kern County Fire Battalion Chief. I'm in Unified Command with Ridgecrest Police Department Chief. The Crest incident, almost immediately following the earthquake, we started to receive a numerous amount of calls for utilities issues, and then also we had a confirmed working structure fire at that point. We started a response initially quickly towards the desert area, as we did start to receive multiple calls at that point. Around that time, our command staff also had already started setting up the OC again and started getting resources set up to respond. We do have a lot of mutual aid being put in together right now to come out here. It's not just us, but initially Battalion 7 resources were pulled out to the desert to address those issues that we had. First one being that structure fire with multiple reports of gas leaks, smells of gas in the area, and electrical issues. Following that knockdown of fire, we had a second report of a working structure fire and cut resources loose to address that as well. During those operations, we simultaneously had aerial recon done in the city of Ridgecrest. Helicopter 407 provided that along with Air 1 from the Sheriff's Office. They did not report any significant structural damage from the air, but that's from the air. As soon as we start getting ahead of the calls with hazardous conditions and utilities and life safety issues we may have, we'll start transitioning to doing an organized search of the city grid, looking for structural damage, stuff of that nature. We do have our USARs and rescue task force in place for that kind of need, along with mutual aid that's being sent this way. Currently, we have the city broken up into 2 branches, and we're breaking out the city into the north and the south branch and addressing issues from that nature. At this point, we're starting to catch up with the hazardous condition calls and the in abundance of calls to 911. So we'll start transitioning at that point to the organized search and assessing for structural damage. On top of that, the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, is open, so we are in command with our OES personnel and also our command staff from the county side. As far as other operations, we do have people that come to work, backfilling stations, and at the current moment we have adequate staffing and personnel addressing the issues of the Ridgecrest City. We have been experiencing some aftershocks, nothing new reported, but currently we're waiting to stand by for that and waiting to transition to the structural grid search. That's all we have at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Mitchell. Now we'd like to give our attention to a subject matter expert. We have Ken Hednut here from USGS to speak with us.
Just want to say, first of all, I owe thanks to the base for allowing us access there today, and also to the city for their support here, the mayor, chief of police. We had just had briefings as we came out of the field today, we being myself and Janice Hernandez from the California Geological Survey. With support from the California Highway Patrol, we were able to do aerial reconnaissance of what we call the surface fault rupture. When an earthquake happens, our sensor network picks that up, and of course we automatically locate and get that information out to everybody immediately. We also then follow that up, and in larger earthquakes like the 6.4 and now the 7.1, we also look for fault surface rupture. This is how we confirm which fault the earthquake occurred on. So we'll see a pattern of aftershocks and we'll have a hunch about which fault that's on, but until we get eyes on it, that's when we confirm. So today we were out by air and also on the ground looking for surface fault rupture on a previously mapped fault. We did find fault surface rupture both out of the base on Highway 178 where you had seen images from last night, and then also that rupture continues from that point on Highway 178. It also continues to the northeast and to the southwest. This is a somewhat atypical type of earthquake in Southern California. We've seen these before though. These are on what we call cross faults. So these are faults that are against the grain of the main San Andreas fault system. So the San Andreas fault is running from northwest to southeast through the state like a big diagonal cut. And then against it, perpendicular to it, are this other set of faults in some places, and we call those cross faults. So what's typical is to have your bigger earthquakes on the faults that are oriented like the San Andreas fault, that are moving right laterally. What's less typical is a cross fault rupture that's left lateral. So when the 6.4 occurred, that rupture was on a cross fault as well as a portion of the main fault, and now the 7.1 is on the main fault. We've seen that main shock is just northwest of that intersection, so we know rupture went toward the northwest. It also went toward the southeast. Our geologists have been out in the field this evening and confirmed fault surface rupture farther to the east on 178. So we know that that fault broke where we're seeing the aftershocks along it. Tomorrow we're hoping to get in the air again to do reconnaissance and look for surface faulting associated with the new main shock, the 7.1. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hudnut. Now we would like to turn our attention to the City of Ridgecrest, Mayor Breeden.
Thank you all for coming. I would like to say a few words to our own citizens. Many of them have experienced something that is very traumatic, somewhat unknown to most of them, and many of them are sleeping outside tonight. I know that it is a difficult situation, but they're fearful to be in their homes, and we are offering any services. As noted earlier, we have places for people to shelter here, but many are choosing to just be with their neighbors, both in their sidewalks, in their driveways, and some of them are in the streets. We're asking everyone to drive safely, be careful, watch for these people, and understand that we are doing the very best we can. It is not an impossible task to take care of all this, but it is going to be a longer task than we thought the other day. So I thank you all for coming. I appreciate the consideration that you're going to give to the citizens of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Breeden. We also have with us today Kern County 1st District Supervisor Mick Leeson, who will be able to speak with us as well.
Thanks. Thank you all for being here. Special thanks to the first responders, all of them that have performed so brilliantly in the past day or two. It's been a phenomenal experience to watch these guys and gals get together and work together, and with such dedication and such devotion to helping this community out. I've had a lot of conversations in the past couple days. I've talked with the White House, talked with Senator Feinstein, Senator Harris. I've talked with the governor. Everybody's fully engaged in what we're doing and understands our situation and is trying to give us as much support as they possibly can. I toured the base today in the city with Congressman McCarthy, who's fully engaged, Senator Grove, and Assemblyman Fong. So everybody's engaged, and we're all over this thing, and we're looking forward to its rapid conclusion. As soon as Mother Nature stops hounding us, I guess we'll put this to bed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Gleason. And as he mentioned, we have representatives here as well from Senator Shannon Grove's office. We have representatives here from Bakersfield City Fire Department, Los Angeles County Fire Department. So there are many resources that are pouring in to help this community. So at this time, we'd like to go ahead and open it up to questions briefly before we go to the breakout on the one-on-ones.
What are we calling the epicenter? We were on 171 when the quake hit. We had just passed the fissure. We felt the ground move. We went about 8 miles east, and we were about 2 miles to the town of Trona, and the ground shook, the hills came alive. Were we on the epicenter? Who would know where the epicenter is? We were with geologists out there. They were analyzing that first fissure, and then the ground broke where we were driving. Is that a new fault?
It's a long question, but in essence, where was that epicenter? Is that something that we can state officially that we know at this point? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
There we go.
Ken Hudnut, U.S. Geological Survey. The information about the epicenters gets updated continuously, so people are checking the automated locations, and that gets updated through time. And also, you notice the magnitudes bounce around just a little. So that's just normal. So the epicenter of the main shock, when I was doing this before, the 6.4 where it intersects the northwest-southeast oriented fault, the epicenter of the main shock is just about here. It's in a remote part of the base. I don't have any place name to give it a name right now. We're not going to call the name of the fault that it's on until we get eyes on that. Hopefully tomorrow we'll confirm which fault ruptured. As to information source, Caltech is the definitive Southern California seismic network operator, and U.S. Geological Survey works in partnership with them in Pasadena. The website you want is scsn.org, Southern California Seismic Network.org. Also earthquakes.usgs.gov. So those maps allow you to interact, zoom in, zoom out, put satellite imagery, topo, and you can get all the information right there.
Ken, for all the people who are going to be listening who are out there tonight in front of their homes or in their homes, what reasonably can they expect in the way of seismic activity over the next 12 to 18 hours? What should they be expecting, anticipating, or be concerned about in that time? Please, as non-technical as possible.
I'm going to give a quick sketch of the basics, but also point you in the direction of the official USGS aftershock forecast. If you search on that, you'll find it for details. But basically, for a 7.1, people should be expecting at least one 6.1 magnitude or higher, and at least 10 5.1 magnitude or higher. And you've been feeling them roll through. We're getting plenty. I don't know the detailed stats on how that breaks down as to how it matches up with expectation, but we'll be also adjusting the official aftershock forecast as we go through this.
Chief, if you would, based on the information that you just got from USGS, what would you advise people to do and to prepare in their homes and what they're doing to get through this next period with all these shocks that probably will be coming in the next 12 to 18 hours?
Okay, so the question that has been posed is, what is the safety message for the residents of Ridgecrest? What should they be preparing to do?
Well, obviously, there are concerns. Children, small children, obviously are frightened with these, so making sure that they're safe. I would probably start taking some stuff off of the walls if it's not already down, and high places. Make sure that you're not sleeping under something that's still hung up. And we can't forget about the pets. The pets are extremely nervous during this time frame. And then make sure that you have plenty of supplies when the stores are open and things like that. Make sure that you're stocking up just in case that we have something bigger than we had today, and it's stuff starts crumbling and these stores can't get back open, we need to make sure that, and if we can't get to you right away, you have to be able to take care of yourself for a period of time. So I know that we all preach that we need to be prepared, and I know it's difficult, that we always say we will, but now's the time. So prepare yourself, especially for the next, I would say, week, 2 weeks. This isn't going to stop in the near future. As we know, the aftershocks, they haven't slowed down since the 7-1. There for a period of time, it seemed like it just kept, there was a constant vibration. So be prepared. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, Nurse Not KTLA, we were on our way to Trona, and people told us that they had little water, that their tank was not filling up with the city, and that they only had a day worth of water for their children, for themselves. Now that road there that we were on is buckled, it's shut down. How are they going to get water, and what do they need to do or hear from you? If they, some of them don't even have power, but if they can hear you.
Okay. Actually, we had just put out on Facebook, we were currently working that issue, trying to help them. It is a different county, but they are our neighbors and care about them. Many of our men and women work out there, so we do care. There's a stack of water sitting over there that people have donated that we can't get to them now. So it is an issue. We can't get there, obviously. I do know that they have crews en route. I can't speak a lot about what's going on there because I don't know. I do know they have help en route, and let's hope they get the help that they need, and obviously we would provide what we can. But right now our concern is here.
Chief, I don't know if this would be best addressed to the fire chief or to the supervisor. If both of you could step forward for a minute. Do you have any kind of a clue or any kind of a timetable on when we might expect additional resources from the state of California or a supervisor from Washington, perhaps FEMA or anything else coming in here? Have you been apprised of any kind of a timeline?
So the question that has been posed is there a timeline, and what is expected to be received by way of resources from neighboring jurisdictions as well as further jurisdictions, correct? Would you like to comment on that?
So to answer your question, our chief reached out almost immediately once that 7.1 happened. So OES was already involved with that request. And we had at least strike teams coming from Region 5, Region 6, Fresno, LA County, LA City, and Orange County are all sending us USAR's task force engines. We already have people here on scene from out of county. That's currently taking place. We do have more coming. I would say within the next couple hours, we should expect mass quantities of those people being here. But we've already received outside help almost immediately, and they're already here, and they're already in the form of getting ready to complete that grid search I was talking to you about from earlier. So as far as the fire side of things and mutual aid and support from the state, we have an abundance of people coming. We currently have a lot of staffing in Ridgecrest ready, prepared, and we're just standing by waiting to address those issues.
In terms of resources, we spoke with county officials earlier today in Kern County, and they were talking about how you guys really assess when your resources are going to run out, and that's when you guys tap into that mutual aid program. So if you can maybe just bring it for our viewers in Bakersfield right now in terms of what your resources are looking like for the people up here in Ridgecrest for the next 24 hours.
As far as the staffing levels and things like that, as stated, so almost immediately following the 7.1, essentially our entire battalion, the desert side, was engaged on that. So we had agents already engaged from that. And like I stated earlier, our chief had already made the phone calls to OES to get that started from outside resources, mutual aid. And then our department, Kern County Fire Department, has already started staffing our stations and callback procedures and like that. So already, immediately, we've had stuff already filled, backfilled, and ready for the current mission we have going on. So due to fast actions on part of our command staff, the chief, and then also our mutual aid entities behind us, we're adequately prepared. I mean, it does have to do with the fact we just had a major earthquake earlier. So we actually had resources nearby anyways as a result. So we're ready to go and staff.
It's more so food, water, the essentials that the evacuees have been talking about and getting that gear for them.
Yes, that stuff has trailed in, like the chief had stated. We do already have stuff here, but as the incident is progressing, as things digress and get bigger, our primary focus right now is Ridgecrest. That's where our focus is right now, right? And then as soon as we start addressing that, we start branching out and start to identify those secondary resources that may need assistance. So as far as logistical needs, as water, ice, gator food, stuff like that, that stuff is happening. It's being set up, but right now our focus is in the city of Ridgecrest due to the mass population here.
We're getting word that there may be an evacuation out of Trona, where we were on our way to.
Let's hold off on that for one moment. Chief of the Ridgecrest Police Department has something that you'd like to interject here real quick.
Yeah, as far as resources go for on the law enforcement side, we were already staffed. We had a large presence already with the Kern County Sheriff's Department and California City PD. They were here, so we were at a level that we felt comfortable with. And however, when the quake happened, Bakersfield PD immediately sent a team, as well as California City sent additional officers, and then the Kern County Sheriff's Department, they had a wave come in as well. So law enforcement wise, we're sufficient right now, and now it's preparing for the future. So what was your other question?
Word of an ammonia leak. We're hearing in KTLA that there may be an ammonia leak near Trona from some people who were in contact with. Say they've been evacuated. They're on the side of the road, and there may be an ammonia leak.
I have not heard that yet. So your information is probably more updated than mine.
We heard there was a mobile home park fire earlier. What kind of damage was done fire-wise from the earthquake?
I have not been out there. Make his.
So we have a question about the actual specifics of damage that may have occurred in one of the residential areas here in Ridgecrest. Speak on that. We'll have Battalion Chief.
As far as the structure fire that we actually had units that were en route to as conditioned, but when our company officers were a heavy smoke column, they diverted to that. We had a working fire. They got in it quickly. Normally we're looking at a 5-engine response, but due to the nature of the mass calls going on, we actually diverted 2 engines to it. Had units on scene, aggressive fire attack on it, got knocked on it quickly. We were able to confirm that people inside were okay. We had all accounted for. There was no injuries. They were able to protect exposures right by it as well. So as a result, they kept it to the building of origin. And it was the same case with the other secondary structure as well. Due to the abundance of calls, we were only able to cut loose a couple entities and engines. So towards that, those guys were aggressive, same kind of tactics, protecting exposure, but they were also effective and of origin. So instances with structural fires, damage was held to the building of origin. No reported injuries as civilian or fireside.
What about the bay? Are there any?
We have a question about base, and we don't have a representative here from the base, so we wouldn't be able to speak on actually what's occurring on the base. At this time, though, we conclude press conference. All the individuals here will be available for one-on-one breakouts, so feel free to go ahead and speak to them on whatever individual questions you may have. At this point, we don't have another exact time plan for the next press conference, but we will notify through social media. We will let out a press release as soon as we identify when the next press conference will be held. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.